3 brutal truths about true confidence that will haunt you forever. Carl Jung revealed the clock struck midnight, and an eerie chill swept through the dimly lit library. Shadows danced on the walls, stretching and shrinking like restless souls whispering secrets from the past. This was not an ordinary night, and the air was thick with promises of truth too heavy to bear. The ancient tome lay open on the table, its pages rustling as if possessed, begging for someone to uncover its mysteries. What lay within was said to be the key to confidence, a confidence that could elevate you above the mundane or drag you into despair. The first truth lurked like a ghost in the corner of the room. It promised liberation, yet it was cloaked in a darkness that made hearts race. Those who had glimpsed it claimed they could feel their bones rattle and their minds swirl with fear. They said if you let go of your need for others' validation, you'd unleash a power that could turn you into an unstoppable force. But oh, the price. They warned of the isolation that could follow, where your once familiar world would become a suffocating void, leaving you questioning your worth each lonely night. Then came the second truth, wrapped in whispers and hushed tones it gnawed at the edges of sanity. If you dare to embrace vulnerability as a strength, be prepared to be cut open, laid bare for all to see. The first sting of exposure makes you realize how unsteady confidence can be, swaying like a fragile string in the wind. Those who crossed this threshold shivered at the thought, their voices quivering as they recounted the pain of judgment, of feeling like an imposter among giants. The clearer the truth became, the harder it was to breathe, and just when the room felt like it was closing in, there was a third truth that shattered everything. The realization hit like a bolt of lightning: true confidence might not even exist. It was all a grand illusion. What if every moment of bravado was merely a well-crafted mask? The doubt rubbed like a deep ache, making stomachs twist and palms sweat. Would you shatter your own facade to confront the monster within? How many would risk it all to find out? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the soft tapping of a rain-soaked window echoed in the silence, the library held its breath. Unanswered questions lingered in the air like a heavy fog. What would happen to those who dared to confront these truths? Would they emerge stronger, or would they fall deeper into the abyss of self-doubt? The shadows seemed to sigh, as if aware that the story was only just beginning. The clock ticked ominously, each sound echoing like a distant heartbeat. The air grew colder, laden with anticipation. The flickering candles cast ghostly shadows, and Adam, heart racing, sat across from the ancient tome. Ignoring the pulse of fear that thrummed in his chest, he leaned closer, his eyes scanning the page. The truth he hadn't noticed before began to jump out at him, sharp and vivid. There, hidden among the cryptic lines, was a mention of a voice that could lure you deeper into your subconscious. It whispered promises of strength, but Adam knew better than to trust what lured him with silky words. Still, a part of him yearned to listen. What might he discover if he did? Suddenly, the air crackled as though static electricity danced between the walls. He shivered, feeling an invisible presence wrapping around him. The notion of confronting a monster began to play in his mind. What if he could finally shatter the illusions he carried? In one moment of reckless courage, Adam murmured the words from the page, daring to invoke the voice. Instantly, the lights dimmed. The flickering shadows twisted into shapes, calling around him like serpents. The library seemed alive, its very structure groaning, as if the wood and stone themselves were awakening from a long slumber. Who dares to awaken me? The voice echoed, sickly smooth and edged with danger. Adam's heart sank. With each syllable, a rush of tension swept through him. Would he regret this decision? I do, he replied, his voice wavering but firm. Just then, a whirlwind of memories rushed past him, each one steeped in the bitter brew of doubt. Faces of those who had dismissed him, torn apart his dreams, filled the shadowed corners of the room. "Do you seek confidence?" the voice asked, piercing through the vulnerabilities he thought locked away. "Or do you seek to end the charade?" Adam's breath quickened. He recalled whispers of the first truth, how it could unearth both freedom and despair. Was he truly ready to confront the person he had become? He could feel the walls pressing in, a tangible weight suffocating him. "I want to be free," he gasped, the sincerity piercing the air like a knife. "Then embrace the darkness," the voice replied, chillingly calm. "The unknown holds the power you seek, but beware the truth may fracture your very being." The shadows flickered wildly, a cacophony of whispers swirling around him. Their voices collided, demanding attention but leaving him more confused. The potential freedom felt like a mirage, one he longed for but terrified to touch. He bit his lip, trying to steady himself. What if the cost was too great? And still, what choice did he have? Embrace or retreat, it urged, drawing him deeper into a tumult of emotions. Each heartbeat reverberated, propelling him toward an inevitable crossroads. The library felt like a dark maw, waiting to consume him whole. "What awaits me if I choose to embrace?" Adam asked, the lump in his throat constricting his voice. A cold laugh echoed in reply, "Only you can reveal that truth. Step forward, if you dare." In that moment, Adam faced a choice that could dissolve his fears or plunge him into a deeper nightmare. The shadows beckoned, whispers rising in a haunting crescendo. What awaited him on the other side, acceptance or ruin? As the unseen forces tugged at the edges of his sanity, he took a breath, ready to leap into the unknown, but clarity came with a flash of light, leaving him gripping the table for support. What if the leap he was about to make would reveal connections he had never anticipated? A single thought echoed loudly: what if this path leads not just to confidence, but something darker? And the question lingered, suspended in the air, filled with dreadful promise. What lay ahead, hidden in the shadows of Adam's own heart? The shadows danced, weaving tales of fear and promise, as Adam's heart pounded loud enough to drown out the chaos around him. He teetered on the edge of decision, each heartbeat a countdown. Dread clawed at his insides, squeezing tighter with each tick of the clock. "Step forward," the voice coaxed, its tone hypnotic, laced with a sweetness that threatened to engulf him. Adam felt drawn in, like a moth to a flickering flame, even as the rational part of his mind screamed for caution. He thought of the countless moments he had shied away, and the bitterness that had grown like weeds in the corners of his soul. He took a tentative step, and the library shifted, the walls swirling as if they had never been solid. The air grew heavier, charged with emotions that were not just his own. Visions flooded his mind, hopes, dreams, regret swirling together in a tempest that threatened to break free. "Show me," he whispered, his voice barely audible above the rising tide. "Show me what lies within." The shadows thickened, enveloping him in darkness. He closed his eyes against the encroaching void. A vision emerged, vivid and unnerving. Before him lay a mirror, fractured and shrouded in whispers. His reflection shimmered, changing with each crack, revealing the boy he had been, the man he was, and the darkness he feared he would become. "Look closely," the voice urged, unfurling its words like silk. "What do you see?" Adam felt his breath hitch. The boy in the mirror was scared, searching, begging for acceptance. The man gripped with pain and longing. But there was also a figure lurking behind, cloaked in shadows, the monster he knew but refused to acknowledge. It was part of him and yet a stranger. "Is this me?" The question escaped before he could catch it, jagged and raw. "Yes," the voice whispered, metallic and chilling. "What have you hidden from the world? What truths have you buried?" Each word sliced through him, striking at the hidden fears layered beneath his facade. He could feel the weight of expectation, of not being enough, the ghost of doubt circling like vultures. "No," he shook his head, desperate to deny the truth that clawed at his core. The truth will set you free, the voice could, seductive, but it will also shatter your illusions. Glimmers of light emerged from within the shards of the mirror, illuminating memories that danced and twisted in grotesque forms. Laughter morphing into cries, joy collapsing into despair, a vivid tapestry of choices made and paths not taken. A shudder ran through his spine as regret flooded him, bitter like ice. What do I do? He murmured, fear tightening its grip around his throat. The library's walls paused, heartbeats resonating with his growing panic. Embrace the darkness, the voice commanded, authority dripping from every syllable. Dive deep into your own being, but know that not all who seek truth return unscathed. With that, the shadows lunged forward like living tendrils, wrapping around him, pulling him toward the fracturing mirror. Adam's heart raced as the weight of his choice pressed in on him. He hesitated, and then, he moved. A surge of adrenaline flooded his veins, and he leaped into the mirror, feeling the cool embrace of darkness wrap around him. A scream tore from his lips as shards shot through him, piercing deep. What lies beyond? He thought desperately, as the light began to fade. Suddenly, a profound silence enveloped him. The rush of sound vanished. Deep inside, something shifted, trembled, and began to unravel. And then he realized he wasn't here alone. There was something else in the darkness, waiting. A whisper brushed against his ear, chilling him to the bone. Are you ready to face your true self? The air thickened with anticipation, ominous and alive. As the shadows promised revelations, Adam braced for the encounter that could change everything. What truth would claw its way to the surface next? What horrors awaited in the depths? Everything hung in the balance, suspended in uncertainty, and the answer loomed ever closer. The darkness swallowed Adam, a relentless tide that drained him of every comforting thought. No walls, no safety, just an abyss where he floated, tethered only to the faint whisper still echoing in the void. The shadow that lingered behind him now stirred, an intangible presence, breathing softly as if to say, I know you. His heart raced, a frantic beat against the silence. What are you? He asked, voice trembling like a fragile cord ready to snap. No answer came. Adam could feel the weight of despair settle over him like a heavy cloak. Then, like lightning cracking through a storm-laden sky, a memory flashed. It was the feeling of rejection, the sting of being cast aside by people he had called friends. Faces blurred into one another, obscured by his own shame and guilt. He stumbled, feeling the ground shift beneath him as he was thrust into the memory, the high school hall filled with laughter, voices critiquing his every move. Not enough, never enough, came a chorus of his words that ricocheted in his mind. Adam grasped his head, trying to shield himself from the onslaught of past wounds reopening, fresh and deadly. Suddenly, a figure emerged, moving through the haze. It was him, but a version he barely recognized, disheveled, eyes glazed with defeat. This reflection smirked, bathed in a mocking light. You think you're alone in this? You've always been afraid. Afraid of the darkness, afraid of the truth. But look around, Adam. This is your prison. No. Adam shouted, his voice breaking the suffocating silence. You're not me. The specter laughed, icy and deep. I am every last fear you refused to face. Every dream you abandoned. You can't run from me. The shadows writhed, pulling at him, and Adam felt the boundaries of his reality tearing. Memories flooded in waves, betrayals and failures, moments where he had chosen silence over truth, cowardice over bravery. Each recollection clawed at him, urging him to succumb to the weight of despair. Breathless, he staggered back. I want to listen to you. He tried to push the figure away, but it was his own reflection, captive and yet free within the nightmare. Face me, it taunted, stepping closer. Face the choices that turned you into this shell. Cold dread wrapped around him like a vice. What if this was it? What if he couldn't escape? Choices, he muttered, thoughts racing as fragments of his life crashed together. I can change, can you? The spectre leaned in closer, breath dripping over Adam like cold fog. You think you can erase the truth? This is the realm where choices become chains. You want light? You'll have to trample through the dark. Adam felt a surge of defiance. Maybe the darkness is where I find my strength. The figure recoiled, head tilting, an odd glimmer of intrigue sparking in its haunting eyes. Strength. Such a dangerous word. Power comes with sacrifice. Are you willing to lose everything to grasp what you want? The weight of that question pressed heavily upon Adam's chest. Outside, the library's walls paused dismally, ready to close in. Everything he breathed, his heart hammering, caught between resolve and dread. Yes. Your fears, your past, your comfort. Would you pay the price? The figure's voice morphed into a hiss, wrapping around him like tendrils of smoke. Adam hesitated, the price echoing in his mind deeper than ever. The shadows grew restless, whispering truths he wasn't ready to hear. A sliver of light flickered somewhere within the gloom, faint but persistent. Then I'll face it, he said, loud and clear, tasting the hope of liberation on his tongue. I will confront you. Suddenly, the darkness quaked, sleek and chaotic, ready to react. The shadow loomed larger as if preparing to unleash its fury. Very well, it hissed. But remember, truth comes at a price. Are you prepared for what you might uncover? As the light and darkness spiraled into a frenzied dance, Adam understood that the only way out of this nightmare was through. And just as he felt the abyss shift beneath him, the whisper returned, sharper this time, you've taken your first step. But what awaits? Your next may be far worse, and with that, the shadows lunged, dragging him into the unknown once again. What lay ahead in that clutch of darkness? Would the cost of truth prove too steep even for him? The shadows enveloped Adam, twisting and clenching, each tendril of darkness a cacophony of unspoken fears. A tightness constricted his throat as he felt the thrumming energy of the void honing in on him. The spectre, his own twisted reflection, stood within reach, grinning with a darkness that promised only despair. You think you're ready, came the chilling whisper, a sound that cawed around his spine. What you desire lies buried beneath layers of pain. To uncover it, you must navigate the horror you feared all along. With each word, Adam felt his resolve wavering. The flickering light, once a beacon of hope, dimmed ominously. Sweat trickled down his brow as unsettling images danced beneath his eyelids, shadows of past failures, faces from his childhood haunted him, laughs that echoed mockingly, taunts that reverberated through his mind. Face it, he growled. I'm done remembering, I want to move forward. The spectre merely chuckled, a sound low and guttural. And where does that lead you? It stepped closer, its icy presence chilling him to the bone. To the safety of past darkness. Or into the blinding light of truth. In a heartbeat, the shadows swirled tighter, grabbing hold of his limbs, keeping him firm in place. Adam's heart pounded, racing against the encroaching void. Was he prepared for this relentless push and pull? Was he truly ready to embrace the truth if it meant facing everything he had tried to forget? Let me show you, the figure said, voice dripping with disdain. Your truth isn't beautiful. It's raw and frightening. The moment you expose it, you may discover more chains than keys. Adam swallowed hard, bracing himself. Chains can be broken. The word burst through clenched teeth, power lacing between each syllable. Can they? The spectre faded into the shadows, leaving Adam standing in trembling darkness, desperately searching for a way out, a flicker of understanding amidst chaos. Or do you simply cling to the familiar pain, afraid to break the mold? The air stirred, thoughts colliding like thunder. Memories surged, clawing at him, the quiet moment on the school bus when he sat alone, rejection etched across his heart, the night he stifled his ambition to fit in, to avoid the harsh looks. Each memory felt like a dagger slicing deeper than the last. Stop it! Adam shouted, fear threading through his voice, desperation bubbling. You don't own me. I'm not that kid anymore. The shadows echoed his pain, distorting into a chorus of laughter, but amidst the chaos, something flickered. The warmth of courage ignited inside him, a realization grasping at the edges of his mind like tendrils of light beginning to break through the consuming gloom. Maybe the truth isn't a burden, Adam said, voice steadying, heart hammering in defiance. It's a foundation. A way to reconstruct who I am. In that moment, the shadows grew still, shifting around him like a startled animal. Brave words, hissed the spectre. But words are cheap. The consequences of truth are the hardest to bear. Think carefully before you delve too deep. I'll bear any weight if it leads me to freedom. The resolve in his words surprised even him. With a swift motion, the darkness retreated, revealing fractured remnants of memories through the haze. Each fragment shimmered with aching clarity, raw emotions laid bare. The abyss grew quiet, a foreboding lull gripping him. Step through and discover, the spectre challenged. But remember, once you step closer, there's no turning back. Adam's chest tightened, mixing fear with exhilaration. He understood he was standing on the precipice of change, just a heartbeat away from the revelation that could alter everything. Then I'll step forward, he said, advancing into the darkness that had once ensnared him. As the shadows surged, swallowing him whole, a final whisper echoed, what comes next will bring forth something beyond your darkest fears. Are you truly ready for that? And just like that, Adam was engulfed, the weight of limitless possibilities resting upon his shoulders. Would he brave the uncharted depths of his own soul, or would despair be his ultimate destiny? The shadows fell away like a curtain being drawn, revealing a vast expanse. Adam stood on uneven ground, his footing unsteady, surrounded by swirling clouds of grey mist. The air was thick with tension, suffocating and electric. He could feel the weight of eyes upon him, unseen but palpable. Welcome to your truth, said the spectre, its voice echoing off the walls of the void. Here, every secret you've buried will rise like smoke, ready to choke you or illuminate your path. Adam's heart raced. Shadows danced at the edges of his vision, forming shapes that felt hauntingly familiar. Each fleeting figure carried an echo of his past, the faces of old friends, those who had turned into enemies, moments of joy that twisted into pain, spears aimed to pierce his heart. He clenched his fist, sweat prickling at his brow. Show me. He shouted defiantly, show me what you've got. Echoes of his words ricocheted through the ether, each repetition infusing the silence with an urgent tension. Very well, the spectre hissed. Let us begin with the one truth you fear the most. In an instant, the ground beneath Adam shifted. The grey mist billowed before him, forming into a vision. He found himself in a hallway, locked in a whirlwind of memories. Young Adam stood alone at a birthday party, balloons and laughter surrounding him, yet he was invisible, an island in a sea of oblivion. The sight sliced through him, deepening his resolve to find his truth. Why did you isolate yourself? The spectre taunted, now appearing as the boy he once was. Frightened of connections. You held back your own hand. No. Adam yelled. I tried. I wanted to fit in. His panic rose like waves crashing against a rocky shore. Fitting in, the spectre echoed mockingly, isn't that a boat hidden within you? You valued acceptance over authenticity. The cruel laughter reverberated, it faded into a whisper, now look what it cost you. The vision shifted again, morphing into a darker path where Adam hid behind excuses, stifling dreams that begged to be born. A tightness claimed his chest as he watched himself shrug off ambitions, choosing safety over risk. Every step you took was like painting over your true colors, the spectre continued, circling him slowly. Will you keep hiding? I don't want to hide. Adam cried, the frustration boiling over. Change isn't easy, but I won't run from it anymore. Dare you face the last truth? The ground convulsed, and a final scene unspooled within the murky depths. Adam's parents loomed before him, their disappointment tangible, the echoes of their harsh words scraping against his soul. The memories clawed at his insides, festering like swords. "You'll never be anything more than a failure," they echoed, a relentless chant igniting the dark pit within him. The air surged with suffocating grief. "No." Adam surged forward, breaking the illusion with his issuing roar. "I am not my past." Silence enveloped everything. As the echoes faded, Adam stood alone, breath ragged, chest heaving. The weight of unearthed truth pressed against him, but a flicker of resilience ignited. "See how far you've come." The spectre taunted, now nothing more than a shadow retreating into darkness. "You claim strength, but doubt will always clutch at your heels." A sudden chill swept through him, igniting a frantic fear. Was this victory fleeting? Did he really have the strength to keep moving forward? His heart raced again, driving a pulse of adrenaline deep within him. With one decisive breath, he felt something shift. He was ready. But just as clarity surged, a shadow jolted back with a jarring intensity, the spectre looming, whispering like a breeze through a graveyard. "You've only scratched the surface. Are you prepared for what lies beneath the truths yet to be unveiled?" Adam's resolve deepened as he gazed into the darkness that called to him. The stakes rose sharply. He was still just on the brink of his own awakening, and the shadow still held secrets he had yet to uncover. What awaited him next? Would he finally emerge victorious, or was the true battle just beginning? The sensation was electric, coursing through Adam, igniting a fire in his chest. A daring challenge hung in the air, bleeding through the tendrils of shadows that twisted around him. Each heartbeat echoed louder, threatening to drown out the spectre's whispers that danced like smoke. "Am I ready?" he murmured to himself, the words scraping against the void. Yet within, fierce determination clawed its way up. Standing on the precipice, fear waged war against pulsating hope. He was ready to delve deeper, to confront the ghostly remnants of his past. "Show me the truth," he launched forward into the swirling mist, but it shifted again, molding into other shapes. A new vision erupted, flickering to life like a shattered film reel. In the hazy depths, he was back in high school, a locker hallway buzzing with life, but he watched from a distance, invisible and ghost-like, peering through. "Remember this." The spectre cracked, its voice humming with cruel glee. The noise, the laughter, but you stood there, heart pounding, paralyzed. Adam's throat constricted. He remembered the urge to join a conversation, the lingering need to be part of that whirlwind. "I wanted to be there," he spat out, tears pricking at the corners of his eyes. "But I never knew how." "And so you shadowed your dreams further," the spectre hissed, morphing into a dark mirror of himself, eyes filled with regret and anger that preyed on his vulnerability. "What are you without courage?" Images flashed in blinding haste, moments where fear triumphed over passion. The audition he walked away from, the girl he never spoke to, the words never spoken. They whipped around him like a storm, fierce and relentless. "No. That is not who I am." Adam shouted, fist clenched, trying to fend off the howling echoes that gnawed at his spirit. "I am more than my fears. I will not wade in what-ifs any longer." "In the realm of shadows, not enough is a truth that festers," came the sardonic reply, as he watched his reflection falter, crumbling like a house of cards, revealing an insatiable emptiness. "Can you challenge such well-worn beliefs? Or will they define you?" Once more, Adam surged forward, emotions boiling to the surface. "I am not my past. I no longer give it power." At that moment, the world splintered into blinding lines of light and dark. He was jerked back, the shadows opening wide like a gaping maw, and then pitch black. A silence wrapped around him like an embrace. He was gut-wrenchingly alone. "What have I done?" The question fell from his lips, bitter and fraught with fear. From the suffocating darkness, a new sound emerged, the slow creeping of laughter, deep and echoing, not from the spectre, but from shadows that seemed to sprout from his own psyche. Do you think you've left us behind? The echo stunted, morphing into a cacophony of voices. His own self-doubt, insecurities, memories of every failure converged into a harmonious chorus of despair. The laughter rose, mocking, relentless. It was a haunting anthem that blended shame and regret with a sharp undercurrent of pain. Adam's resolve quivered. Could he really face this grotesque collage, or would he retreat into the shadows again? Courage or surrender? The spectre whispered, its presence swirling around him, thick as fog. Make your choice. The choice loomed, one final push into the depths of his soul awaited. Was he ready to confront the darkest corners of himself? Or would he let fear continue to dictate the narrative of his life? With darkness closing in, Adam steeled himself. The moment had come, but the answers might change everything. Would he emerge with victory, or fold under the tremendous weight of self-truth? The shadows thickened, coiling around Adam like hungry tendrils, ready to drag him down to a place he feared to tread. The laughter grew louder, wrapping him in a shroud of mockery. He could feel their eyes boring into him. Each stare felt like a dagger of bitterness, sharpening his every insecurity. Courage or surrender? Echoed the spectre's voice as if it were the only truth in this realm of shadows. He inhaled deeply, a trembling breath that felt like a desperate plea for strength. The familiar pain tightened in his chest, rising like fire. But instead of backing down, something ignited inside him, a flicker of defiance. What if this was the moment to confront not just his fears but the very essence of his being? Show me! Adam shouted, his voice echoing through the oppressive darkness. I'm ready to see. The shadows shifted, twisting and warping, revealing more memories of his life, isolated moments that felt familiar yet unrecognizable. There was his first heartbreak, the note he never sent, dripping with unspoken words. It morphed into an image of him sitting on the sidelines during a football game, while laughter and cheers surrounded him like a painful reminder of everything he never grabbed hold of. Look at you, the spectre hissed, its voice dripping with disdain. Sitting there, a spectator in your own life. Do you think these moments don't define you? Each image clawed at his soul, but instead of crumbling beneath the weight of his failures, Adam faced them head-on. No more sidestepping reality. I refuse to be dictated by my past. Those moments are not who I am. The darkness rippled at his words, momentarily losing its grip. In that fleeting moment, he recalled the warmth of old friendships, the laughter shared in fleeting moments of joy. They flickered into view against the backdrop of despair. These too were mine, he whispered, letting the warmth seep back into his heart. In this familiar pain, the road to triumph lies, the spectre sneered, manipulating Adam's moment of clarity. You still think you can embrace those victories? They won't save you. But Adam's voice hardened. They are part of the fabric that makes me whole. I won't run from them, and I refuse to let you twist them. With a roar, he pushed back against the encroaching shadows, allowing flashes of courage to shine through. Memories of speaking out for a friend during the toughest of times, of moments when courage triumphed over fear, erupted like a volatile firework in the night sky. Each remembered triumph igniting a crack in the darkness that surrounded him. Yet, behind each streak of light, the shadows swirled, morphing again, taking on a more sinister form. From the depths, a voice emerged, chilling and enigmatic. Can you hold on to that strength when the lies scream louder? The air shifted, and Adam felt a deeper darkness creep into his mind. The laughter transformed, now bitter and filled with the reality he'd long buried. You can't escape, Adam. Not from us, not from yourself. Panic surged, tightening around his throat. What do you want? He screamed, desperation coursing through him. Face us. The spectre snarled, morphing back into its most twisted form, yet no longer a reflection, but a grotesque amalgamation of his failures and fears, eyes glinting with a malevolent hunger. We will haunt you until you yield. Adam's heart raced, but deeper within him, a flicker of hope lingered. I want to yield to you. I'll break these chains. With that, he launched forward into the heart of the darkness, not as a passive victim, but as a warrior ready to reclaim his story. But just as he surged ahead, the world around him splintered. He was thrown into another vortex of shadows, and a chilling realization settled in. The biggest battle was about to begin. Would he emerge victorious, or would these specters of his past finally claim him as one of their own? The shadows themselves seemed to whisper the answer, tantalizingly out of reach. The air crackled with electricity as Adam was whisked into the new realm of shadows, a chaotic blur of darkness swirling around him. He felt weightless, like he was being pulled apart at the seams, bits of his essence floating away. The laughter echoed again, but this time it was different. It held a sinister note, one that felt personal and cutting. "Welcome to your real nightmare," the spectre's voice slithered through the madness. "Here, the shadows feed on your hidden truths." Adam's heart pounded against his ribs like a trapped bird. He felt raw, exposed. The darkness condensed around him, and in that moment, images exploded to life, unfiltered, painful truths he buried deep. He was standing in front of a mirror. Reflections flashed of times he felt inadequate, moments where self-doubt wrapped around him like a noose. The weight of expectation from teachers, peers, his parents loomed heavy. "You'll never be good enough," they whispered, swirling around him, taunting. "Stop!" Adam shouted, but the words felt weak against the storm of memories. With each fleeting image, he felt the chains of doubt clanking against his spirit. "Can you even bear to look?" the spectre challenged. "You want to confront your fears? Then face them." The mirror shattered, shard of reflecting truth piercing the space around him. Each gleaming fragment showed his failures but also hinted at missed opportunities, the moments he didn't take a chance, the time he could have stepped out of the shadows but chose to stay silent. He gasped as a new revelation washed over him. "It's not those moments that define me, it's how I respond. It's about making a choice." "Choices?" the spectre hissed, its voice dripping with scathing laughter. "You mean the ones you've made that left you isolated?" As the shadows twisted and writhed, Adam felt a surge of anger rise within him. He wouldn't let these manipulations hold him captive. "I'm more than my mistakes," he roared, determination flashing in his eyes. With that, he lunged forward, not into the darkness, but toward an opening that illuminated with the strength of his own will. Memories of resilience burst forth the time he chose to stand up against the unfairness of a situation, a moment of kindness given to an unexpected face in need. Then, the spectre shrieked, thrashing against the tide of Adam's renewed resolve. "You're weak. You never outrun what you truly are." "Wrong," Adam declared, each word ringing like a bell breaking the suffocating silence. He could see flickers of movement in the shadows now. Figures reached out, hands that once felt lost, now glowing with encouragement. "They believed in me," he thought, allowing warmth to cloak him, reminding him of allies he had overlooked. "I can't forget that I'm not doing this alone." His mind deepened into each memory, turning the laughter into whispers of support and the taunts into challenges that pushed him towards greatness. Suddenly, a blinding light erupted, forcing back the shadows. It pierced through the darkness, illuminating the space around him as if casting out a long-held curse. But as light flooded in, the spectre shrieked, transforming again, frantically clawing for dominance. "Is it enough?" the voice screeched as Adam faced the creature's horrifying visage, an amalgamation of everything he feared and loathed, a fusion of doubt and despair. "Can you fight back the truth staring you in the face?" Adam's pulse quickened as he steadied his breath. "I'll face it. I'll face my reflection, no matter how painful. No more hiding." But then, without warning, the light flickered. The shadows began to seep back in, hungry for his faltering strength. Adam's fight was far from over, and he could feel that rising tide of darkness pressing down on him again. Could he hold on? Would the truth he embraced be enough to push through? Or were the shadows waiting for just one moment of doubt to drag him back into their cold embrace? The answers lurked in the chilling depths, and as he fought to stay alight, Adam felt the weight of the impending storm gathering around him, waiting just beyond the light. What awaited him in the looming darkness? The air crackled with energy as Adam struggled against the increasingly dense shadows, fierce warmth in his chest clashing with the cold void invading his mind. The specter's laughter echoed around him, taunting, relentless, trying to lure him back into despair, but Adam was done retreating. With every fiber of his being, he summoned up the courage that had started to flourish within him. "I confront you," he shouted, defiance sharpening every word. "I refuse to let you define me." With that declaration, the shadows trembled, shifting like a tide. The phantom visage of his doubts grew brighter, yet more threatening, as fear and anger warred for supremacy within him. "You can't win this," the specter hissed, now twisting into a grotesque mockery of his former self. "You don't have what it takes." But Adam clenched his fist, muscles taut with determination. "Yes, I do," he exclaimed, images of courage flashing in his mind, a friend he had stood up for, a moment he had chosen to speak out against injustice. "I'm not just my fears, I'm my actions too." The light intensified within him as he drew on these memories, feeling the energy swell and fight back against despair. Shadows receded slightly, and a new clarity emerged. "You may haunt me," he called out, "but you'll never own me." Suddenly, the room erupted in a blinding flash as colors burst into view, illuminating this ethereal space. Each flicker seemed to scream, "You're not alone." It ignited everything around him, revealing the myriad moments where connection had buoyed him, where kindness and love had broken through the isolation. The specter faltered, its sinister laughter replaced with infuriated shrieks. "No. This isn't over," it screeched, erroneously assured of its power. "I'll make it over," Adam retorted, heart pounding with newfound vigor. "You're not my destiny. I choose who I become." The light surged and wrapped around him, warm and comforting, pulling him further into the battle for his own truth. "You want to challenge the depth of your heart? Come forth," he roared, propelling himself toward the specter. At that moment, he saw himself reflected in its shadowy form, a union of every regret and every hope, the mirror of his fractured past warped as the specter wailed. "What power will you wield? You'll be lost. I want to be lost because I'm finally finding myself." Adam screamed in fury and resolution, his voice echoing through the expanse. "I am more." With that, he lunged forward, piercing the veil of darkness that shrouded him, the light bursting forth like a gunshot, a new dawn in the churning, oppressive chaos. A resounding crash filled the void as he collided with the shadows. For a moment, everything froze in time, teetering on the brink of implosion. Then, darkness flashed into fragments that scattered like ashes in the wind, liberating the haunting whispers that had held him captive for too long. As the overwhelming weight fell away, he felt lighter, freer, his essence no longer chained to fear. The shadows retreated, dissolving like smoke into the ether, their voices fading into silence. Adam breathed deeply, a rush of clarity sweeping through him. The path ahead shimmered with possibility. He was finally standing in the fullness of his truth, a strength that surged in the face of despair. "I am brave," he whispered to himself, conviction wrapping around each word. "I am worthy. I am enough." He stepped forward into the light, the specter's last echoes disappearing entirely. He marveled at the expanse before him, a limitless horizon where he could carve his new story, unhindered by past ghosts. With every breath, he reclaimed his promises, the whispers of kindness, bravery, and connection pouring into his heart. From that moment on, the darkness would no longer define him. Instead, it served only as a reminder of his strength when he chose to confront it. As he emerged, a soft glow illuminated the library around him, and Adam took a moment to absorb the weight of it all. The truths could be haunting, but they were also freeing. In that bittersweet space, he had discovered the essence of real confidence. It thrived in acceptance and authenticity, not fear. The shadows had lost this battle, but their lesson lingered, an understanding that courage could only grow stronger in the face of adversity. Feeling lighter than air, Adam stepped beyond the threshold of the library, a wave of warmth cascading over him. He glanced back one last time, where shadows flickered softly, now rendered harmless. "Thank you for the truth," he murmured, knowing the journey was only just beginning. As he walked forward into his life, it shimmered with hope, ready for whatever came next. With a heart resolute, he knew he could face anything. And for the first time, Adam truly believed it. Now, my amazing friends, it's time to take action. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss out on future exclusive stories that could change your life. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and make sure others find this journey. Flood that comment section with your thoughts about this ending and share your own theories. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support is what keeps this community alive.